What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. We're going solo today. Uh, oh man, you just. As you have just as as has just been demonstrated, we've added some new toys to to the stream. So first is we have a corgi counter. So please don't abuse this because it's going to make it completely impossible to continue. But if you put the right number of corgi emotes, which you do have to be subscribed to Chris Biscardi. So if you're not, you should do that because he needs extra emote slots. Go subscribe to Chris Biscardi so you can get the party corgi emote, and then yeah, post those corgis, and it'll do good things for all of us. So what I want to do today is I actually want to kind of continue playing with this, because what's really fun about this is like now we have other commands as well. So for example, if we run like, let me get to my chat here. So if I bring this over and I run like blitzed, you just got blitzed. Isn't that great? Like we now have the ability to do this in the chat. It's like super fun, right? So this is all fun stuff that we can do. What I do need to do. Oh no!
Holy buckets! Did that just work?
Okay, so the old stuff like this that's playing right now with Holy Buckets, that's all powered through Streamlabs. And I love Streamlabs. They're doing great work. But I'm a nerd and I want to build my own stuff, so I'm slowly migrating things over. And so what I want to do today is figure out how we can get a soundboard, because there are a handful of things that are going on here. Like on the learnwithjason.dev site, we've got the commands that you can use. And so these are the ones that are powered through Streamlabs. And that's good. But it's not giving us like the new stuff. I can't, like this one now, you can do it without redeem. You can just do bang blitzed. And I think we did the same one for elevator music now. Yeah, exactly, right? So and like please hold is also now like we can just drop this straight in. And so, this, wow, that's really loud. Let me turn that down. It's too loud. Okay. But so anyways, what I want to do is I want to take this a step further, because right now the way this works is we can look at the code for a second. Let me pull up the thing with the stuff and all that. All right. This is the one that no. All right. Come over here. So this is the, did you just empty a blank one? You did. Get out of here. So this is what I actually want to look at. All right. So what I've done is I've put together several things. So we have the server, and the way that the server works is it's setting up a WebSocket connection. So we're using the WS library, which is great. It's really simple and straightforward, which was what I needed because I started out with Socket.io and it was not working for me. So what we're doing here is we're basically setting up a little Express app, and that's going to be important because I want to play with, I want to make this into an API. But we set up a server, we create the WebSocket connection, and then when the browser sends a WebSocket upgrade request, we do this connection event. And then inside of our chatbot, we listen for the WebSocket event here. So we run on connection, and then we grab the socket that comes in. And this is a little hacky because I couldn't figure out why, but it was like every time you refresh the page, it would fire events that many more times. So, first connection was 1, second connection was twice, and so on and so forth. So this just grabs the most recent connection because that seems to be what functions. And then we register our custom commands. So like these are our custom commands. And I ended up writing kind of an API for this, which is also going to be important because it gives us a ton of options for like what we can do here. So like, let's take a look at, this is a simple one, please hold. So we get in, the command gets the user, the message that they sent, any flags, so like whether they're a mod or so on and so forth, and then a bunch of extra stuff, including what channel the message came from. And that all gets passed into this object that gets returned. So the name of the command, the message that we want sent to the chat, a link to the sound effect file, which I'm using Cloudinary to host the sound effects and images. And so there's a sound effect, there's an animated GIF if we want to play that, and then there's a duration, like how long this should be visible on the screen. For more advanced stuff, what we can do, oh no, I need to fix my today thing. Hold on one second. I know how to do this now. So what we can do here is, this is another one that, oh, you already got it. You already got it. Thanks, Chris. So yeah, so what we can do with this now is, like, if we go into another one, like we wanted one that had some logic. So we add some logic and we say, if the user is Chris, then we send a different message. Otherwise we say, you know, so like if I run, hey, here's this, and then, you know, if Chris does it, it'll say that he's Chris. Oh, here we go. And then on a, you know, but so basically the idea here is that we're able to create these sound effects relatively quickly now, because they all, when the command runs, it just grabs the command out of, I don't know where it is, somewhere in here. Commands, on command. One of these does the thing here. If the commands include whichever one just got sent in, then we just run that command with these values, and it lets us do kind of whatever we want, and then we send this out to the browser. And the send message is just checking if we have an active socket and then sending out a stringified object. The way this works in the client is that the client is just going to get a WebSocket. This is a little bit of a hacky way to make sure that we're using either like WS as the protocol for localhost, or WSS if we're over whatever, I can't remember what it is, but if we're over SSL, so to use WSS, and then we connect to the host. And then we have a couple things, like there's a 30-second cooldown, which I think is only sometimes honored. Then we have like a handle chat. So that's the one, like whenever somebody puts in an emote, it's grabbing that, checking if there are emotes, and then updating the emote count. Then we've got the handle command. So when someone sends in something like this, like release the corgis, I disabled that one because that was going to get old real fast. Did I break command updating? Shoot. So that's fun. How did I do that? Anyways, I guess we'll have to, I broke commander. Oh, well, that'll be something to deal with on another stream. But so ultimately what we're seeing here, though, is that the way this works is when a message comes in, the message gets sent in as data, and then we make sure that it matches the channel, so that like when things happen on my stream, it doesn't trigger sound effects on Chris's, and vice versa. And then we just pass along that message. So if it's a chat message, we handle the chat. Otherwise, we handle a command. And what that means for us is that if we use Netlify Functions, then we can do things. And the things that we want to do specifically is, I want to have a button on the Learn with JSON website. That
son of a biscuit.
I want to have buttons on the Learn with JSON website that will send events to our server that ultimately result in triggering the overlay. So that's what I want to work on today, and it's going to be a good time. So let's figure out how we want to start doing that. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to figure out, we are initializing the chatbot, right? And when we initialize the chatbot, we pass in our WebSocket. And so I need a way to send in messages whenever there's a chat. So so right now the way that it works is that there's like an on command and a on connected and an on chat, and those are handled by Comfy.js, which is a wrapper over TMI.js, which is like a Twitch event listener. That's a good question about auth. I would say probably to start. Probably to start, I would want us to be open but with a cooldown. So like everybody can push the button, but the button will only work once every 30 seconds. Because that seems like more fun. But having auth would also be really cool. Like maybe in the future we could hook it up to Twitch auth so that if you're a moderator on the channel, you would get extra buttons or something. That's probably more than we can do today. So let's start by figuring out how we're going to trigger these things. So let's do it by setting up a route. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to hit this server and like hit it like an API. So I will say app, we'll say get for now so that we can test it in the browser, and I'll just call it API, and that's going to give us the request and the response. And so I think I'm going from memory here, but I think the way, I got to look this up. The express, I think you have to send a status and a message. But let's take a look. This is the one. Or we could just go shopping. All right, so we've got Express. Let's look at the API stuff. Where are my docs? Sure. So I want to, I can just send a string. All right, so let's start by doing that and make sure that this thing works the way I want. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll pull up my little thing here. We'll start it. And so now I think things are going to get weird because it's going to fire all the chats twice. So that'll make it, well, I guess we'll see if the, oh no, things are already broken. Get active commands of undefined. You just got blitzed. So I definitely broke something, didn't I? Get active commands. Where the hell is get active commands being called? You hackers, you dirty hackers. Get active commands. Get active commands. Did my database break? That would explain what's going on with the commander if that's the case. Let's stop and restart here. I'm not falling down this rabbit hole. If it's broken, I'm just turning it off. Data's coming back undefined. Interesting. But it's also not logging an error. All of which seems concerning. Return data. Is it? Did they change their format out from under me? That would be infuriating. I know I just said I'm not debugging this, and now I'm debugging this. Leave me alone. Oh, now I get commands. Well, that's weird. It was like it was down or something. Okay, regardless. Not what we're doing. So now it should work though. Let's try it. Commander. Today. Soundboards. Did it work? Oops. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what the hell that was. Okay, but we're back. So so what I'm after here though is I actually want to be able to visit my API in localhost. So I'm going to localhost 8080, and I want to go to /API, and we should get hello world or hello chat. So we have a really basic API set up here. And what I want to be able to do next is I want to send in a command. And I think what I want is I just want that command to be triggered by, let's see. I probably just want this to be triggered by name. So we'll just send in like the command name that we want to trigger. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to process this a little bit better than I'm doing now, because what I'm doing right now is fine, but it's kind of like one long, like messy function. And so all of this handling is very tied to the on command. So I think I'll have to like extract that out into its own function. And let's see. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. But well, so let's start by just figuring out what this is going to look like. So I'm going to create a new file, and we're just going to call this API. And what I want that to be is we will set up like module.exports, and that's going to have our request and our response. And so I want to get out the request body. So let's start by saying we'll get out the request body, and I'm going to change over the server to use this now. So I will say API equals require API, and then I'm going to have it run like so. But I'm going to change it to post because I want to see what we're getting when we actually like send things, right? And so what I want to do then is go to here, and I can run, I guess I need to stop and start this. And then I'm going to curl, set it as a post, and we'll send, or crap, what's the body thing? We're going to go to curl post. So I want to send data, and I can just start. Maybe I want to send JSON. Yeah, this is what I want. And we'll send that to localhost 8080/API. I'm going to go back and change this into something actually. Okay, so what should happen, because this is running, is I should see a response. No, it doesn't like that. What doesn't it like? Why doesn't it like it? Is it not request body? I just realized that I was looking at the Express docs off screen earlier. That was probably really fun for all y'all, especially when I talked about shopping. Okay, so let's look at the guide. We'll look at routing. I want to see what post looks like. Yeah, but show me how to get the request body. Request dot params. That's not it. Is it params? Nah. Okay, guess I'm just gonna log all of request and see what happens. Hey, Nizumi and Lior, thanks for coming in. I think I saw Phil Hawksworth in the chat earlier. It's always good to see you. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to stop and restart it. Okay, then I'm going to run this one more time. And what I want to see, okay, this is better. We got something. Where's my data? Yeah, that's all stuff. None of it is what I need. Where are you at? URL API. Come on. Headers. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in this object. Okay, come on. Come on. Nothing? Well, that's unfortunate. Why? Okay, I guess we're just gonna express post JSON example. Response data code. No, I don't make me do that. That's a silly thing to do. I need to use middleware. What a pain in the butt. Why can't you just... Oh, wait. Body parser. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, I guess I'm... Oh, wait, update for... Is it just... Okay, all right, okay. Let's see, I'm looking at what... I'm just reading the chat here. So I don't have the body parser. That would have been probably what I should have started with. Since I'm already running a remote server, does it make sense to not WebSocket back to your site? Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, there are a lot of ways to solve this. What I could do is I could just pipe in the thing. I kind of just want to play with it though. So I'm going to set them up as serverless functions, because the reason that I think it'll be good to set it up as a serverless function is that it'll be easier to contribute a single function than to pull down the full API and all that kind of stuff. So this is part play, part trying to make it easier to participate for folks who wanted to write their own. So I don't know. I don't know why I'm not getting any data. It's because I need to add this thing. Let's say, hey, what's up, Sarah? And okay, so I'm going to look up, or no, I already looked this up. I'm going to use the express.json, I think. And hopefully app.use, I'm going to say express.json. And then we're going to see if that makes a difference when I log request body. Was it body? Yes. All right, we're trying it. Here we go. What do you got? Did you do a thing? Hey, we got data. Okay, so then I can send some data back. We'll say, I gotta raise the limit on that. We need to make it like 1,000 just to keep you occupied all day. Okay, so all right, so now we get an actual response back and it closes the connection, which is what we're after. And it also logs what we're looking for. Okay, so we need, okay. All right, so now we can actually like kind of process this a little bit. And what I want the API to do is I want it to look for, like, let's think about our object here a little bit. So the object that we want is I'm about to turn this thing off, y'all. Okay, so I want it to be like, I mean, I guess it could just be something like command and the command you want to run, right? That would be a really, really easy API. And then what I could do up here is I could load in my commands. And those would be, so we'd have like blitzed, and that would be require commands blitzed. And so then what does blitzed need? So this would be so we need to figure out the other things that we're trying to do. So we need to figure out what the other requirements are of this. So it needs to have really just the channel is kind of the minimum requirement. So we would need to pass that as well. And so we might just hard code that because the functions are going to be on my site. And so I will say, I'm going to send the blitz command to this channel. And then once we get that, we need to be able to call it. So we would do something like if commands, I get this wrong every time. It's either includes or contains. Includes? Yeah. Pets includes. Yep, that's what I wanted. All right. So if commands includes message.command, then we need to fire the command. And I think the way that we would do that is we could just say commands message command, and we need to what? We need to pass in stuff that we're not going to use. So there's like the user message flags and then the channel. So we will just pass in null, 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 and the channel will be message channel. Okay, and that's going to give us back the command object, which we then need to actually trigger. And to actually trigger it, we're getting like this result, and then we have to send it. And to send it, we need this WebSocket. Oh, crap. I guess I can just take this whole... How do I want to do that? Because what I need is for this WebSocket to be like globally available. So I guess I need like... What, Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay, yeah. So taking a quick thing, Sarah has a array method explorer, and it's incredible. Oh, wait. Is this one? This one. Yeah, it's so cool. So this is where I should have started. It's like, let's see. I want to find an item. I'm trying to find one item. Yep, that would have been cool. Okay, so note just this slick animation. What a show off. Okay, so that's a cool thing. Y'all should go play with that. It's really fun. And then yeah, let's focus up. Let's go back and do the thing that I want to do. So I need to figure out a way to get my socket available globally. And I don't do a lot of Node, so I can't really remember how this is supposed to work. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an experimental thing that I'm going to call socket. And I think the way I want socket to work is I want it to have this logic in it here. And so I'm going to pull this out more or less. So it's going to get the WebSocket. Module.export equals WebSocket, and then we're going to pull over this part here. And I set up a ping thing because without any activity, the WebSocket will close. So this basically just says like, hey, every 15 seconds, send a ping. Okay, and I'm going to leave the debugging on. So what I'm hoping happens here is that we are, thank you for the subscription. Yeah, so I think, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get the WebSocket to fire up here and be like universally available. And that means that I need to have a helper function. So we're going to do exports.getSocket will just return the socket so that we can grab that wherever we need it. And I feel like I also should move this send message. Maybe I don't need to have an actual like socket available, and I can just use this instead. So basically this is aware of the socket, but like nothing else really needs to be aware of the socket. So I think this will work. Let's give it a shot. So I'm gonna where did my chatbot go? I'm gonna take this and I'm going to, for now, just comment it out. Oh, I need to put my pinger back in. My pinger. My pinger. There we go. And so yeah, if we need to change the socket out, okay. So we've got that, which means I can also comment this out. And then I'm going to comment all of this out, and instead we're going to get send message, and that's going to be destructured, a named export, and that's going to come from socket. And so then that means out here that instead of calling the chatbot with the WebSockets, I need to initialize the socket here. So I'm going to, let's see, we'll change that one like this. Do I use WebSocket anywhere else? No, that's the only place it gets used. Do I use socket anywhere else? No, okay. So I can go out here, and we're going to say const InitializeSocket equals require socket, and then I'm going to just duplicate this one, and then we don't need that anymore because it should be a global access. And let's find out if I broke it. So shut that down. Okay, that's all good. And then I'm going to come out here to this, and we'll say 8080 filter on the channel, and we need to let's see, let's run a command. Okay, so it worked over there, but it didn't work in here because send message is not a function in the chatbot, but I imported you. I did the thing. Send message is not a function. Oh, do I have to do like, I forget how this works. Does it have to be like this? Let's try again. Okay. Coming back out here. All right, let's try some hold music. So that's working. Did it give me an error again? Send message is not a function. You are a function. Exports.getSocket. Like, am I doing this wrong? Exports.sendMessage. Right? And so what I should be getting here is, let's see, it's not there. Here. No, here. Send message. Socket. What am I doing wrong? Who knows? Who knows Node? I don't know Node. Let's clean this up a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say as socket stuff, and then that doesn't work. Then I'm going to see if I can console log socket stuff. What do you have? Like, and then I'll just make, to avoid an actual error, we'll just no-op this, because I want to see what comes out here. So I'm going to stop and start again. I'm going to trigger a thing. So let's go with blitzed. Okay, so it still didn't work. Did it not do anything? It didn't log anything at all. So wait, so do you can't mix module exports, so I need it to be like exports dot initialize like that? Maybe? Let's try it. Let's see how it goes. So I'm going to, you get out of here. All right, so I am going to get this one, right? And then I'm going to get, why are you doing that? Why are you like this? All right. Send message. Let's drop this thing out. Drop that thing out. Let's just try this one more time. That didn't work at all. InitializeSocket is not a function. So what the business here? Okay, I know what I'm going to do instead. So I'm going to say const initialize socket. Hold on, what am I doing? I just did a lot of bad things here. Oh boy, I got real confused. I was in the wrong file. So this one is the right thing, and this one is broken. So in socket, what I want to do instead is I'm going to, I don't think we need that. I don't think we're going to use it. So I'm going to instead set these up as const initialize socket, and then down at the bottom, I'm just going to do a module.exports of a object. And so we'll say send message and initialize socket. And so then that means I will grab send message from here, and I will grab,
no, this will work. This will work.
yes, socket. I think, yeah, I have high hopes. I believe. If it doesn't error immediately, okay, all right, that's promising. It did initialize a socket. Things are happening. Okay. Then, what do we want? I wanted to see if it actually triggered the thing. So let's do it again. You just got blitzed. Did it do? Okay. Send message.
Holy buckets, did that just work?
I guess I can check here as well. Like, do I have an open network connection? Okay, so here's my WebSocket connection, and this should be getting pings. Okay, so it's getting stuff, right? So it is getting some things, and what we're hoping for is that this will also give us, like what's a thing? We want it to trigger a thing. So I'm gonna come over here and let's try to trigger like please hold. Okay. Oh God. Okay. So let's, yeah. All right. That was too many. So okay. So that's good. That's what we wanted. I'm going to mute this actually, because that way we can keep playing with it without blowing our eardrums out. So that means that if we go back in, we look at our network tab. This is actually a really handy way to see your WebSocket connections, because you can just look and it shows the active WebSocket connections. So we'll see the pings and stuff. But then if I send in a command, we can see the command that came in and actually look at it. So like here are the emotes that came through, and here's the actual command that triggered the thing. So we can see the URL for the animated GIF. We can see the URL for the MP3, and all of that is kind of happening under the hood. So the mute did work, but it's also playing on my main. So like there's wait, which this way? There's this like browser source, right? That is hooked up in live. This this tab would double it, and so it would play twice. So this tab is muted, and that way when we trigger the sound effects, they're only triggering on the main tab. So if we add a new one that's like not on the main server, then we would only see it over here. But so that's good enough for me, because what that means now is that from the API we can do something like let's send a message. So I'm going to import. Nope. I'm going to get send message from socket, right? And then now that I have this, we can look again at chatbot to make sure I'm doing this properly. We are going to get the command, right? And then if there's no result, if there is a result, we're going to send it. So we will say if command, we can res send status 500 and body. Is this right? Am I making stuff up? You know what? I'm going to worry about that later, because I don't want to fall down an Express rabbit hole here. We'll say error, no command found. Okay. And then if we do have a command, I'm going to send it. So I will send that message. And I guess the user is going to be Blitz Jackson, the robot for now, because right now we won't have auth. So we just want to make sure that I don't know if I think that's just used for informational purposes. So maybe we can just say like the J soundboard. Yeah, that seems fine. So now what I want to do is I want to actually send in a command, and I'm going to get that by parsing the request body. So we will get request body. Okay. And what I should have done is copied this first. Okay. Now we'll do that. Request body. And I'm going to save this. Let's go back out here. I'm going to stop and restart. And I'm going to come over to my trusty post command. And I'm going to, guess I don't want to do this. I can't paste it, can I? So I'll say command is blitzed, and what was the other thing? Channel. Channel is JLangsdorff. Invoke callback. I think things broke. This looks bad. Commands.includes is not a function because, oh, duh. Object.keys. So what I'm doing is I'm basically saying like get all of these as an array and then check if it exists. So that, I think, nope, what, no, why? What are you doing? Oh, because, all right, stop and start. Okay. Send this again. So that worked, but it did not trigger, it didn't trigger our handler. So what does that mean? Let's look at what went wrong. If object keys, all right, so let's do this. I'm gonna res.send send command command dot name, no, command, yeah, no, yes, command dot name, because that'll show us that it actually found it, because this is what comes back from there. So we want to make sure that it actually gets the command. Then if we get to here, I'm also going to return. So what we should see is that the send command, and I think this sends, but or returns, but just in case, we want to make sure that we don't ever get here, because if we get here, that means we didn't find anything. So let's stop and start again. And let's run this again. And it says it sent the command. So let's go look at our browser. Oh, you know what I think it is? I didn't refresh. So let's make sure our connection is active. I'm going to send this again. Nice. Okay, so it's working, right? That's pretty fun. That's cool. So that means now we have the ability to send this stuff from an API call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now switch, and let's get over to the Learn with JSON site. It's over here. Get into this one. And so now that that's like up and running, kind of, what I can do is I can create some functions. And so I'm going to create these right at the root level. And it's just going to be a folder called functions. And inside, I'm going to say, this one's going to be called trigger sound effects. And let's go to the Netlify Functions. Functions. We're going to look at the docs here. I'll throw these in the chat for you. So, all right. So let's, I just saw that Weatherman crack. That's a good one, Nikki. So that, let's take a look at this. So functions are basically, if you've never seen functions, well, okay, I should rephrase that. If you've never seen serverless functions, the idea is that like you want to do something on a server, but you don't want to have to stand up a whole server, because standing up a whole server is a pain. And, you know, as you've just seen, like I'm trying to remember how Node works. I'm Googling Express docs. I'm wrestling with like responses and stuff. I don't want to deal with any of that, right? All I want is to write a function that gets some kind of data and sends some kind of outgoing data, or sends a response of some sort. And so what serverless functions do is they give us that. Now, previously, this was still kind of a pain, because you'd have to go in and set up like AWS, or you'd have to, you know, learn some framework or something like that. And there were just enough things that made it kind of hard to do that it was like, all right, well, this is just as hard as setting up an Express server. And one of the things that really got me excited about Netlify in general was when they introduced functions. it shows how much they're thinking about the onboarding process and how much they're lowering the bar to entry. Because check this out. I'm going to write my first serverless function here. Let's find one in JavaScript. So to write your first server, legitimately, this is all you need. So I can take this. What am I doing? Oh, oh, we need to fix that. Why is that select text black? What's going on? Okay. Anyways, what I can do here is I can come in and I can just do this, and then I can send a callback, and my callback is error first and then message. So I send a status code of 200 and a message, which I forget what the message format is, so give me just a second. Body. So I can send body of hello chat, right? And then because we're in a Gatsby site that's all configured with all the things we need, what I think I can do now, I want to test these locally, right? And so testing things locally was also a huge pain. So let me make sure I have the Netlify CLI, and I do. If you didn't have that, you could just do like yarn global add Netlify CLI, or you could do npm install global Netlify CLI, whichever one you prefer. But now that I have it, I can do Netlify dev. And I think this is going to work like in here. See how it when I auto init, it ran this for me. It set up like functions live in functions. So when I run Netlify dev, it's going to start a server for me. And that server is running at localhost 8888. So if I take this server and I go out and I'm like, hey, let's go to localhost 8888, and I want to go to Netlify Functions and what did I call it? Trigger SFX. And it says hello chat. So that's it. Like that's the whole server. This function is it. So we build trigger SFX. We tell Netlify that the functions live in a functions folder, and now we've got servers, right? Like I heavily air quote that because functions, like this is obviously going to have a lot of limitations. There's no state. The reason that I'm not using serverless functions for the sound effects, for example, is that like it needs to be on and listening to the chat like all the time, which is, you know, clearly that's not possible here. The function wouldn't be running for a long time. The functions just run when they're actually called. So this function right now is not being used. No code is being run. And then when I refresh this page, it goes and looks for a function called this, like fires up the thing to run it, runs it, and then sends back a response. And so, you know, there are some limitations with this sort of thing, but this is really, really slick. And yeah, so Chris is talking about WebSocket implementation in serverless, and like, oh, I want that so bad. I think there's some really, I heard some rumors. I don't know what state anything is in, but I heard that is being thought about. So I think that would be there's some cool things happening. But so now that I have this function set up, we can make this function do things. So let's have this function send a message to our thing. And you know what I'm going to do actually? I don't like using the callback, so I'm just going to await this. Then I can drop the callback, and instead I can just return, right? Okay, good. So now I can do the same thing. Oh no, what did I do? Unexpected. Oh. What's going on? Exports.handler. Async is what I meant, not await. That was, forgot how code works. Okay, so this simplifies it a little bit. Let me make this smaller so you can see the whole function. So by making it async, we get around the callback problem, and we can just return our body. So that makes my life a little bit easier. So what I want to do is I want to send a message to, in this case, it'll be localhost 8080/API. And then I want to get a response for success fail. So let's see. Do I have Axios already? Seems like something I would have. I don't. So I'm going to how does this thing build? Am I going to need to... It runs yarn workspace site build. So I'm using yarn workspaces, which is overcomplicating things for what we're specifically trying to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run yarn add Axios. Are you going to be a pain in my butt? I guess I'm going to... how do I want to do this? I don't really want to create a package JSON specifically for my functions, but I'm in workspaces. So I'm going to do something. I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and I'm gonna change this to be in the site, because it's actually in the site where the functions live. And what that means I can do here is I'm gonna move this to be site functions, and then I can do yarn workspace site add Axios. No, you don't need Netlify Lambda, Nikki. It's not required. So I am saying we've got this, and I'm gonna go into, let's see, we can just collapse all that. I'm gonna get in here, and let me just make sure that this continued to work now that we're now that I'm playing with it on a slightly different layer here. Did it do what I want? Yes. Okay, so it still works. So then I'm going to pull in Axios. So const Axios equals require Axios. Okay. And then I can, let's see, the response will be await Axios.post, and we're going to send it to HTTP localhost 8080/API, and what I want to send in is crap, what was it? Oh no, it was, I can go check my thing. Command and channel. Okay, so let's try just sending that, and I'm going to return JSON stringify result. Let's see what happens. So I've got my overlay out here. I've got this over here. I'm gonna trigger it. Converting circular structure to JSON. Okay, so I can't do that with the response. So that's fine. I want result dot data. Yes. Sent command blitzed. Hey, that's what we wanted. But I didn't reload this, so it broke our connection. So let me try it again. And there it goes. It's running. So this is like, we now have a simple setup for sending these in, and I want to be able to get something out of the setup. Specifically, I don't want to have these hard coded. So I want to get these from the event, which let's look at how we would actually set that up. So I've got Netlify devs running here, and we could, like, there are ways to set this up where it's running both. I'm not gonna mess around with that today, because I just, it's easier if I just do it like this, because I'm on a roll. We're on a roll. We're moving. We're going. So I'm going to get into my dev stuff and then learn with JSON. And I want to be here. Yeah. And then I'll do yarn workspace site develop. Okay. So I want that to be up and running. Oh, crap. What did I do? Oh, good. Sharp. Thanks, Sharp. I'm going to reinstall, I guess. I need to switch this thing over to use Cloudinary. I appreciate what Sharp is, but I'm so done with those errors. Let's try that again. Here we go. It's happening. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to add, oh, have I ever showed you this? I built it so that it listens for Twitch to see if I'm live, and then it'll take you to the Twitch page if I'm live. So I want to build a new page, or I guess I can build this out on the participate page. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can actually see. And maybe what I can do is just drop something right up here. And so if we look at the site, I think the way I set this up is it's MDX, which is good because what that means is now we can just build out a component that I'm going to call soundboard, if I can spell it right, .js. So we'll get React from React, and I'm going to import Axios from Axios, and then I'm going to create our actual soundboard component. And in here, see, export default soundboard. Wow, why do I want to spell it like that today? Okay, so I've got this. We've got our function is still running. Our soundboard is going. So I'm going to start by saying, let's just put in a placeholder for it. Build a soundboard. And I want to be able to see this on the site. So I'm going to go to the participate area. I'm going to import soundboard. That looks right. That's what I want it to be. From components soundboard. I think I can do it just like this. And then down here, I should be able to just drop in the soundboard because MDX is magic. And so here we go. We've got our soundboard. So now I can actually make this do some stuff. So let's go play. I'm going to have a, let's see, I want a button, so handle click, and that is going to take the event, and we want the event, how's this going to work? Let's see, if we've got a div, and inside that div, let's make it a list. And inside of each one of these, we'll have a button because it's not taking us anywhere. What else? What else? What else? So we have our button, and the button is going to be on click. We will handle the click. And then I need to figure out how to pass in some data with it. So you know what I can? All right. So you know how when you learn something, it's like when you have a hammer, everything becomes a nail. I very much want to reach for currying right now. So what I want to do is I want to do this so that I can say like this and do something like this. So if I do that, then what happens is I'm calling the function the first time with blitzed, which then returns this function, which is an actual event handler. So then I can do like event prevent default and Axios post, and I want this to not be, maybe I can do it this way. We'll run it to Netlify Functions, trigger SFX, and we want to pass in the command name and the channel. So I'm going to actually just copy this straight up Okay. And so that then I can do it like this. So now we set the command here, right? Then we get the event, and the event is what actually handles the click. So this will now give us the ability to set up a lot of different handlers. And I think these are the only two that I've actually created so far. But let's go look at what this looks like. So now I've got these two things. Make those into actual LIs. Okay, so now if I'm looking...
It would be neat if this just worked.
So I'm going to click this, and what I think will happen is it should trigger...
Oh, so we would need to add code.
Did it do the thing?
Is that right?
Let me add some logging here so that we actually have console log event. All right, so let's try that.
Should we focus up? Should we write some code?
So then if I run this, it didn't hit the function. Is it getting an error? Maybe I pointed it wrong. Trigger 200, okay. Where's my response? Yeah, that's hitting the wrong thing. So what is it trying to hit? Oh, I know what I did wrong. Okay, so this is my fault because I'm looking at here. I need to send it to the actual like dev server. So because Netlify dev is running at localhost 8888, I need to actually send it there. So if I run it now, it's running. So it did it. It does what we want. So I'm going to take that as a success. Let me pull this one this way, and we'll pull this one this way so that we can try that again. Let's do this one.
Holy buckets, did that just work?
Oh, it's timed out. It's so it's only every so many seconds here that'll work. But what's really cool here is that now what we should be able to do is grab out this body and pass that instead. So I should be able to take, let's say, command equals JSON parse event.body. I don't know if I need to parse it, but I'm gonna. And we'll just send in the command. And so that then theoretically means that when I trigger these, so let me refresh this one just to make sure we're on fresh connections. It didn't like that. It didn't like that at all. Unexpected token O in JSON at position 1. So I broke a thing. JSON parse. So do you not need... Is that... Did it just turn into like object or something? Let's try it again. Okay, so that one kind of worked, but it didn't send in the thing. So we got, let's console log event body. I think I might be doing this wrong. Object. So why are you an object? Oh, I have to. Do I need to JSON stringify this? That would be no. It's not going to make. That's gonna hurt my feelings if that's true. Let's try. I'm just reading the chat and realizing that you've known this for far longer than I have. Okay, so we've got this. Now I've got this. So I should need to JSON parse. and that's modified reloading. Let's pass it through. There we go. So that worked. And then once this is done, I should be able to run this one. Did you do it? No, not that one. Now, why didn't you work is a better question. Let's see. Oh, it didn't work because I didn't register it. So in the API, let me open up the API again. We need to actually register our other commands. So this is going to be kind of a limited set or subset here of commands that we actually want to allow. But I will include, please hold, because those, I think, that's got a sound effect, and please hold has a sound effect. Good. Okay. So now that those are set, I can go in here. I can, let's stop. Nope. This one, stop and restart. I do need to check the chat command. I agree. That would be a wonderful, it should just be like a, clip that. We'll make that the sound effect. Every time that I'm not paying attention to chat, we can just trigger a throat clearing. So we've got this. Please hold. Got our API registering those. And we've got everything set up. So if I refresh this page, and I'm going to go ahead and unmute it for fun. Right? And now we can say, did it work? Did it not like this?
You just got blitzed.
Okay, so that's one. And then God, that is so loud though. Okay, so yeah, this is great, right? This is fun. So we now have effectively a soundboard, right? I'm pretty on board with this. How's everybody feeling? How are we doing on time? Oh yeah, we're about right on time here. So I think we can probably start buttoning this up. But so just to recap what we've done here, we took a back-end server. So, you know, assuming this is another way to think about this is like, assume it's a service that you don't control, right? So we have the first service is this like socket service. It listens for commands and it'll send them to your channel. And I'm honestly thinking about doing that, like making this into a little bit of a framework that we can just pass commands into. But so we've got this setup here that has the ability to send messages to a given connected client. That client is listening for our messages, and whenever a message comes in, we probably don't need to continue logging those. Whenever the message comes in, it will grab it and make sure that we are in the right channel. And then depending on what the message is, it will either respond to the chat or it'll handle it like a command. And so then we have our API, which is powered by, so it's like a Gatsby site. This little clean buddy here. Let's that one. So we have our Gatsby site. So everything is kind of set up by all sorts of fun things. But then we've got this MDX page, and we built a component that's got buttons, and those buttons live in Soundboard. So Soundboard is a React component that has a click handler that just sends off a request to our functions. And then whenever you click one of our buttons, it'll trigger that function. And the way that we're actually managing that is through Netlify Functions, which listen for the event, and we don't even really need that context because we're not using it. So it listens for the event. It then grabs out the command from the body, so like what we sent, and sends off a command to that other API. So this is kind of like, another way to look at this is eventually when I want to include auth, what I'll probably do is add some kind of a API key sort of deal, which means that you wouldn't want this running on your React site. So you wouldn't just like send this. You would want some kind of an intermediary where, you know, if we've got a secret, we can't put that on the client. So if we sent this request from like this component, anybody who inspects source would be able to get that that data. But if this is an environment variable that's only ever fired in the serverless function, then that's never exposed client side, which means that we can make privileged calls down here. And so that's another way that like one of the reasons that I really like serverless functions is that, you know, if we're doing something that would not be secure to do on a client, instead of having to send up a fully functional server just to do some privileged stuff, we can do something like this where we've got the, you know, we would just pull this in from our environment. So we can process n dot super secret squirrel. How do you spell squirrel? Maybe, I don't know. But we could just, you know, do require .env .config and put any environment variables that we want down in this .env file, and then we would be able to use, you know, this here. So we can publish this to GitHub, and it's not unsafe. And when it runs on Netlify, we'll have added our secrets to the Netlify backend, so it never gets exposed to the front end. So, you know, eventually we will add this kind of a functionality into this function, because I don't want this to be fired from like anywhere. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to go clean it up so that the URLs are stored in environment variables and stuff, but I feel pretty good overall. I think we got quite a bit done. We were able to connect up a bunch of systems, and now we've got a fun way to trigger sound effects from the browser. So this will be kind of fun for folks who are maybe watching on, or like aren't super familiar with things. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, then I think we're done. So what's coming up here? Let's check the schedule. Oh, so this is going to be fun. I am going to have several things happening. First, next week, I've got Eli Fitch coming on. We're going to do custom maps and animation. If you've never seen Eli's work before, Eli is just really, really good at making subtle UX animations and fun things. He does a lot of like experimental 3D work. This is going to be really fun. And then we have our very own Derek. He is one of the mods. Eco, what's up? And he's going to come on, and we're going to build a Twitch extension, which I've never done. Have no idea how any of this works. So this will be fun. Followed by Will Johnson, who is a learner advocate over at Egghead. I'm sure that it's no secret that I love Egghead. I think it's a great platform. But Will's going to come on, and I'm going to be teaching Will how to build a new site starting with Gatsby themes. Oh, and then I've got Divya. Divya she goes by Short Div on Twitter, is an incredible teacher, just like unbelievable. She's just like amazing on a lot of levels. But one way that I really am excited to learn from her is that she used to be into React and then switched over to Vue and gave this amazing talk called A React Point of View. Let's see if I can find it. This talk, yeah. Watch this talk because it's incredible. And then I am going to, oops. I think I watched that talk at like 2x, which is why that just sounded like chipmunk music. But so she's going to come on and teach Vue, which my experience with Vue is pretty much limited to the little bit that I've done with Shirley. Don't forget to check the backlog. We've got a lot of really amazing stuff that's come across the show over the last few weeks. GitHub Actions just went into like public usage. You can use them however you want. So go check that episode if you want to get into GitHub Actions. And with that, I think we're going to call it. Stay tuned, chat. We are going to raid. And we'll see you next time.